All right, so we are going to be doing our slides. And so first thing I'm going to point out is I have my bacteria in a rack, Bunsen burner on, goggles on, ready to go. In everybody's kit, you have what's called an inoculating loop. An inoculating loop is just a fine wire, and it has a little loop at the end. So the first thing I did was I washed my slides and I placed a really, really small drop of water, and everyone should have a water cup with a dropper. Water can be found just from the sink. You don't need to do anything special with it because we're going to heat fix it later and kill anything that might be living in it. So I have my slide washed, my water on it, my loop ready, my bacteria ready. And the bacteria that I'm using today is SM. It's kind of this pinkish color, if you can see it. And all of our bacteria is going to be on the slant itself. And your bacteria is going to be in a tube that looks like this. And the bacteria is sitting right on that slant. So you don't have to scrape really hard. It's not down at the bottom. I'm just going to very gently, kind of like scraping something off the surface of Jell-O. I'm going to very gently pull it off the surface. Remember, with bacteria, we don't need to see it, right? It's there, I promise you. So the first thing I'm going to do is heat my inoculating loop, and this is kind of the fun part. I'm going to heat it up on all sides until it turns red. And when it turns red, I know that it is sterile. And I'm not going to put it down at this point. I'm not going to touch it with anything. It's considered sterile. I'm going to hold it in my hand, and I like to hold it kind of like a pencil so I can still use my fingers. And I'm going to very carefully get my bacteria ready. So with this bacteria, I'm going to waft my tube, which you should have read about why we do that. It's going to pressurize my tube and keep anything from falling into it. And I'm going to keep the cap off as short amount of time as possible. So I'm going to take the cap off, waft my tube, scrape the bacteria, waft again, and put the cap back on really, really quickly. So wafting, scraping very gently, some bacteria, wafting again, cap back on. I'm then going to take my bacteria and just swirl it around my slide, spreading it out as much as possible because it needs to air dry. Sterilizing my loop again to kill anything living that might be on it. And my slide is done.